Okay, so welcome everybody to the Node.js Next 10 meeting for June 7th, 2023. Before we get started, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to share? If not, we will move on to the issues that were tagged in the agenda. Okay, the first one is the Next 10 Collaboration Summit Technical Priorities. And let me just... Right, so I think this one is just to, let me see, this is basically the follow on from that session. So I think we need to pull in the basically the boards and everything like that. And this is a reminder to do this. So we still need, pull in boards and then discuss. So we need to sort of pull in those boards, discuss, but I think we can defer till next time. Try and make sure that between now and then we get those in and we can go through and sort of say, okay, based on the top priorities, what kind of things should we be doing? Sure. The next one on the agenda is the serverless deep dive. So I think we've agreed on June 22nd from 10 to 12. And so I think our key thing now is to document the agenda in the issue, as well as to let people know who we think would be interested in terms of getting, having them there for the discussions. In terms of the agenda, I think I will look up our existing ones because really it's a very simple agenda that's basically like, hey, are there any challenges for serverless, in the node runtime, and is there anything we should be doing? So I'll dig that out. Our agenda based past deep dives and add, and then I guess the question is in terms of finding and adding people or making sure people are aware. Do you know if there's other people, any ideas on how we might do that other than what we've already been doing? Okay, if no other ideas, just keep thinking about that. And, we need to continue to work on that because that is probably right after our next meeting. Yeah, it's the day after our next meeting, but basically need to, in the next week, I think, make sure we've got all the right people, right? Okay, the next one is corporate support and contribution. I think Jean had the next actions on that one. So I think we should just skip that until next time. The metadata data proposal for docs, I don't think there's any update on that. I know that Claudio has that sort of in his backlog, but he's pretty focused on a bunch of things related to the website right now. So that's don't expect too much progress until he can close that out. Review the easy retros and submit and do updates as appropriate. So this is updating actually from our last easy retros, I think. And I know there's a PR in progress, but that'll probably get rolled up with our getting the new ones in and updated. So I'm going to say no update week. Example documentation, that's something that John is leading, and I don't think there's an update on that. Same with the I18N. Stop me if you have any updates or anything as I go through these quickly, but I don't think there's any update. The next 10 survey, so working to get that into the repo. I did spend a fair amount of time going through and taking the ad hoc write-ins from the spreadsheet and putting it into a document. The last step really is to get like the foundation and John to have another pass through just to see I haven't missed anything. So I'll re-ping that email and say, hey, is it ready to go? Because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and that's really the next step is. And if people wonder why we don't just put the raw spreadsheet in, there's definitely some things in there that aren't, they identify individuals. And that's just not appropriate to have that in. So it's pretty much the same data that we'll get into the Word doc. Actually, a little bit easier to consume as well, because it's not that easy in the spreadsheet, but there are some things that we needed to take out. And then creating the newsletters for the periodicals. I did actually reach out to a number through email to what I'm hoping are the contacts for a number of the periodicals. So let me open that up. I can. So yeah, I emailed JS, I think the publishers of JS Weekly, Node Weekly, ES Next News. I got like an answer back from the ES Next News. So I think that loop's closed. On the JS Weekly and Node Weekly, didn't get an answer, so might be worth following up. Also pinged Kylie from the foundation just as another, group that might be interested in publishing that information. Did a global mention to the Node.js collaborators. But I think if all of us can try and encourage, news updates, the more news updates there are, maybe the more it's interesting to the periodicals. And if you know of any other periodicals that you watch for Node news, we should add them to the list and try and get them looped in. The other thing that was mentioned was like the person from one of them mentioned that they typically consume news from RSS feeds. So I don't know a lot about RSS feeds, but I made me wonder, like, is there some way? We've got a list of links. If we could basically scrape our issues, if we could scrape those issues looking for new issues, they could probably be fairly easily be turned into an RSS feed. If somebody knows how RSS works and the tools and all that stuff, I'm guessing it wouldn't be super hard, but that's something that just throwing out there, because if anybody's listening has some interest, tool that or an action or something where we would scrape them and do that, that might be a good addition to getting the news out. So that's the update on there. I think we'll leave it worth leaving on just to continue to work on. Let me see. So anything that takes us to the end of the agenda? Are there anything else that people have for us to discuss before we move on? I do think we've got a bunch of next follow-ups from the Collaborator Summit, but that's one of the things we need to kind of put in, I think, is in some of these issues that we need to sort of work on asynchronously, identify, and then move forward. So. Okay. If that's it, we'll give everybody back some time. Thanks for your time, and hopefully we can get some stuff done async next time, and we'll have a little bit more concrete to review, chat on in terms of like, hey, what other next steps beyond our serverless deep dive should we be doing based on the survey data and on the discussion at the last Collaborator Summit. Okay. Nice talking to you all.
Thank you.
See you again soon. Bye.
Thank you, Michael.